going on, everyone? And welcome to the Systems Lab Live. I am very excited to be here with you all tonight. I'm actually looking for my headphones, folks, and so that I can be able to hold on, y'all, so I can be able to do my thing and look at this. So we live though. I'm just trying to make sure that the folks, the Instagram fam, was able to, you know, join in, on the fun, join in on the fun. So, what's happening, y'all? Y'all doing well? Everything good? Everything good? I hope all is well. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. What are you guys up to today? What are you guys up to today? Um, you guys had a good weekend? Anything fun happen? Anything fun happen? Let me know in the comments. What are you guys working on? I always like to ask that, especially in my emails too. I ask that often. I'm always like, what are you all working on? What y'all working on? Because I think that's important. What projects? What are you working on? What is, anything that you have, any stop gaps or anything like that? What are you guys working on? There's so many exciting things that people are working on these days. So that's why I'm always interested. What are y'all working on? All right, y'all. We'll deal with the AirPods later. But we have some business to tend to tonight. We're going to be talking about risk and risk management. And we're going to talk about what it means to identify risk in your business. Well, for the projects, identify project risk and strategies for you to overcome and strategies to eliminate risk. All right. So before we get to that, we of course have our show and tell, where we dive into and we look into and we look into how to manage projects with Google Workspace. So I'm excited about that because you can do a lot of project planning within Google Workspace. And there's a lot of collaboration features and a lot of things that you can do. So I'm very excited about that. We're definitely going to be doing some cool things tonight, showcasing you guys. So if you're on Instagram and you want to learn about ways that you can identify project risk, because maybe you are collaborating on a virtual event, maybe you are launching a membership community, a virtual event, which I said that twice, or an app, or maybe it's a service or a product, or maybe it's just within your business you're looking at, I need to identify risk. You definitely want to come on this live, and you definitely want to click the link in my bio, and then join me. I'm on live, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. You definitely want to do that. But I love the Google Workspace, folks, because you can do all the things in there, folks, from creating templates to writing SOPs to meeting minutes to all the things in between. Actually, a lot of people even use Google Docs as sales pages. Can you even believe that? And Google Sheets, Google Docs, and Google Slides are just like Microsoft products, except there's a lot of more collaborative features. Well, I wouldn't even say a lot more, because I believe Microsoft caught up to Google and a lot of the collaboration features. So in this first segment, show and tell, we are going to dive into Google Sheets and what you can use Google Sheets for, and some of the cool aspects of collaboration. So that's what we're going to do right now. So let's get it, folks. Let's get it. And I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to share the screen. And also, too, share this with 3 people that you know. Share this with 3 people. Let them know, hey, I'm on this live stream, and this woman by the name of Ashley Schuler is on here, and she's talking about Google Sheets. And while we all think that we may know Google Sheets, there's a lot of cool hacks and things that go on. All right. So Google Sheets looks very much like a spreadsheet. There's no guessing. You can use spreadsheets for tracking things. Some people use this as a very bare bones content planning or podcast planning. And especially if you are doing content creation and podcast planning within budget, which means you're like, you know what, let me start off with what I know, free 99. And I respect that totally, because there's a lot that goes into content creation, podcast planning, and leveling up. And let me tell you something, there is nothing wrong with that. I'm going to tell you that right now. So here we go. Podcast planning, as you could, again, using that as a use case. So when you see on my screen, you see a blank Google Sheet. So what you'll do is, if you all have your own Google Workspace account. So what you can do is you can click on google.com/sheets, and then it'll take you to Sheets. And you'll open up a blank page, and you'll see all the rows right here on the screen, A through J. A through J. All right. You also have this toolbar that will show you the percentage, meaning like if you want to zoom in, really zoom in, or if you want to zoom out. Then you also have the currency format as percent, decimal place, other formats, accounting, financial, date and time, all the things in between. You have all the wrap text and the vertical alignment. Like I said, a lot of these functions are found in Microsoft Excel. They even have all of the math and all the things that you can do here. Look, they got all the financial things. I didn't even know they had all this in here, folks. This is kind of interesting. I would love to get with someone that is like Google Sheets expert. In the fact, there are many of those that are out there. I forgot this gentleman's name, but he's like a Google Sheet expert. And then you have text, lowercase, they have all these different types of things on here. Web. Yeah, I think this is like a HTML code. You can hyperlink things in here as well. Filter. So you can filter, sort, and do all these things. So that is all of the formula. This is like your regular formula things. Insert the link. Again, insert comment if you want to comment on something. And then you can always @ somebody. And then you can go and collaborate that way. This is really the power, again, of Google Docs, Google Sheets, is the power of collaboration. Collaboration. Another cool thing to use is present to a meeting. They have an icon that says present to a meeting, which is if you have something that's scheduled, you can literally present this inside of a Google Meet, which is just like Zoom, and then present what you're working on. So for those of you that are like, am I zoomed out? Should I even have a Zoom account? Maybe you want to cut down on expenses. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? So Google Workspace has a whole suite of tools that you can use for free. Or if you're on the business account like I am, you're paying at a minimum $6 a month, which is great because you got Drive, you got folders, you got docs, slides, forms, you have all of these other assets. You have Google Calendar. They even have an appointment schedule with Google Calendar, but we'll get into Google Calendar at another later date and time. So let's look at this, folks. Let's label these. If we were to do content planning, this is what I would do. I would put in the headings. And in fact, I think I actually have an example of that already set up. So I'm going to go in and see if I have a content Google Sheet. Is there a let's see, content planning? Content planning worksheet. I think I found it, folks. I think I found it. Okay, I'm going to reshare my screen. I'm going to reshare my screen and share with you all. Content planning. Yep, I'm going to show this to you. Content planning. All right, so if you see right here, all of the headings right here are date, day of the week, the platform, the avatar, the content type, the content bucket, the messaging pillar, the title of the post, the copy, the caption, the hashtag, the call to action, and the freebie. And then they have a ready to post, the post link, and then key observations. So again, low stress, low tech way of doing content planning. I've heard some people use this way of just saying, let me just do some basic like planning. Like I'm not even ready for a project management tool. Now, I was going to bring that up, y'all. I believe in putting these types of items, especially if you work in a team. Shout out to those that have the teams. Even if you are solo dolo, there are a lot of ways that you can utilize and leverage your project management tool that are really going to help you to do things faster and also be able to create templates and things. This is a manual process, but for some, this might be exactly what they need if they're trying to really start off organizing themselves. So I'm going to click this right here. I'm going to go to 426 and I'm going to click the day of the week. I'm going to click Tuesday. And then I'm going to click on the platform, which is LinkedIn. I'm going to write in my avatar and I'm going to write in Susan Jacobs. I want to also let you know too, here's how you can create the options. You're probably wondering, how do you create the drop down options? So here's what you do. What you do is I'm going to take this right here. I'm going to press down on cell 4 and go all the way to cell 11. I'm going to go to data and I'm going to go to validation. Again, this is just like Excel. It mirrors almost 90 or 80 to 90% of the features. And what's great about this is that you can then list items, numbers. This can be a number. This can be text. This can be a date. This could be a customized formula or a checkbox. We want a list of items that are going to separate by comma. So I'm going to say Susan Jacobs, and I'm going to say Rick Palmer and Josie Harris. We're just making up names and we're going to save. So what you'll see here is that when you go to cell 4, guess what? You have all of the drop downs. So this became even more easier. Content type. This is going to be a LinkedIn carousel and the content bucket. Now, explaining these terms about a content bucket, for some people, that could be your messaging pillar. Some people call it the content type. Some people call it, and what I mean by messaging pillar is, what are some of your top 3 to 4 items that you're going to be talking about. So sometimes these terms are used interchangeably. I just wanted to be able to add this right here. Content bucket or your messaging pillar. Same concept. Go ahead and drop down right here. Click and drop down and then go to data, validation, and enter in those items. Now the title, put the title of the post right here. Put the caption, the hashtags. What is the call to action? You can do the same concept. You can either type it in or put in a data validation to do a pick list. Freebie could be yes or no. And again, this could be data validation, and then click this thing right here where it says list of items, checkbox, save, and it's a checkbox. Ready to post. So again, this is where you're checking for the title, the caption, the hashtags, the call to action, and you can click ready to post. And then right here, you can categorize this by putting this into a post link, like grabbing the Instagram link or the LinkedIn link and posting. And then you could do your own data analysis and say, here are some of the key observations. Okay, cool. Who's with me on this? Who feels good about Google Sheets? Am I showing you something new? I'm going to show you some more collaboration tools as well. I also want to show you in the tools feature, they have something where you can create a form. So many of you who may or may not know this is that when you create a Google form and that you export it and you want to see who responded to it, it creates a brand new Google Sheet with different headings. So that's one thing. Autocomplete, looks like they have autocomplete, spelling, notification rules. You can notify, if you share this, you can notify yourself if any changes are made or if a user submits a form. You can email a digest or email right away. So that really helps if you're collaborating with lots of different people. Extensions. Again, extensions, really good. You can get add-ons, which are, again, add-ons are from the App Store, the Google Workplace Marketplace, where you can literally add different types of other software features. And again, I don't know all of these, but I'm interested in what some of these look like. These are often submitted by various people from the different app developers and things. You can see right here. SheetGo is another Google Sheet like. It looks like there's more automations that you can do with this. It should be interesting. I'm not familiar with SheetGo. I think I signed up a long time ago, but never did anything with it. So if I were to go to Lucidchart, you can do things where you can add in charts and things. Lucidchart is great for mind mapping and all of the like. So this is really good. Yeah, I'd be interested to see how Google Sheets works with Lucidchart. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Well, another thing is sharing. Sharing and permissions is something that very much can trip people up, but have no fear, folks. One thing that you should know is if you're within an organization, you copy this link. Anyone that has this view can see it, anyone in the world. You could also have anyone in the world can comment or edit. So you always want to think first, who do I want to have access to this document? And then what level of access should they have? So you can have restricted, which is only certain people that's added to this document, which is right here. Only certain people can have this link and then open it up. Does everyone copy on that? I hope you do, because that's really important. A lot of people get all up in arms because of access issues. And so we really want to think to yourself, number one, who has access? Why do they have access? And then what level of access do I have? Because there's nothing worse than giving the wrong people access and then they mess up your stuff. They just mess it all up. You ain't even like it. You don't even like it. For those of you that are joining and tuning in, welcome to the Systems Lab Live. This is where we dive into everyday processes, things that we're working on with managing our projects, time management, productivity, and we look at how we can best tweak the process, create the process so that we can execute and be able to make sure that we are delivering on what it is that we have outlined that match our goals and all those types of things. So welcome. You learn a little something about the Systems Lab. And so we are going through and combing through the Google Suite so that we can look at how we can utilize these tools and be more collaborative with our team members. So share with a friend if you are watching right now and saying, friend, I think you need to hop on this live. Let's see. Other collaboration features. We talked about the comments. So you can add to this current sheet. You can filter where you have this comment on one sheet, and then you can add the comment, and you can say at, and I'm going to say Dawn Schuler, and then I'm going to comment right here, and it's going to say someone needs access to this file. Share with one person, comment, or turn on link sharing where anyone can comment. Again, this is all about access, okay? All about access. Yes, this live will be saved. If you go to YouTube and subscribe, you can watch the replay after this is done, so you can see the whole visual piece of this. So if I go share with one person and then I go and click on comment, boom, comment is right here. All right, cool. Notifications all for you. You can filter out what's for you and none. But that is what that is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Boom. All right. Okay. What else can you do with this? So move. This is really good too, because you want to also be able to look at where you can move your files to. You want to know where you can move your files. So you click on move, and you can, move it to wherever it needs to be moved to. So that's also an easy one as well. When you go into file, you can do a couple things. You can import a file. You can import it into different docs. See, it's loading, so we'll go back to that one. And then if you want to share this, again, share with others. We just talked about permissions. Email this file. Look at that. I can email this as a Microsoft Excel, and I can email this to someone, right? I can email this to someone as a file. Or again, share it, copy the link, and then that person can open it up. You can download this into Excel, a PDF, a .csv. You can rename the doc, and then you can also add a shortcut to the drive as well. Add a shortcut to the drive, which means you can have a special place, a special link, because maybe you just want quick access to it. So very helpful. Very helpful. Okay. I'm loving it, you all. I'm loving it. Let me know what questions you have. We are going to transition into process and flow, where we are going to go straight into the tutorial at hand, which is risk management. Okay. I'm going to share my screen because I have a nice little demo for y'all. Share screen. All right. This is good. I love a good, again, talking about risk and what is it and why is it important. All right. So this is an old training, an oldie but a goodie. Systems Lab 1.0 when it was just a Zoom call. I tell you what. So we're going to go back into what is risk management and then talk about what is risk. This is going to be good stuff. What's going on, Gray? We're talking about risk management. I know you know all about that with doing ClickUp setups and consultations. Risk management is key. And I'm also too, Gray, when we go on live on Wednesday, I will be building out a risk tracker within ClickUp. That's going to be good. That's going to be really good. So I'm excited about that. All right. So risk management, what is it? From a financial perspective, risk management encompasses the identification, the analysis, and response to risk factors that form part of the life of a business. Solid. From a financial perspective, okay, this is what you would do to identify and respond. And from a project management standpoint, and again, let's think about your project that you're working on right now: a virtual event, a membership group, an app, an NFT, a product, a service. Risk management is the practice of identifying, evaluating, and preventing or mitigating risks to a project that may have potential impact to the desired outcomes. It is a process, number one, that you must review often, that is going to look at how you identify it, how you evaluate it, and then how you're going to solve for X to eliminate it so that it does not impact your project. But we haven't even identified what a risk is. So let's slide over here. An individual risk is an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, has a positive or negative effect on one or more objectives. Ooh, I love this. I love this, y'all. Let's look at this right now. I just zoomed in so that you guys can see it. A risk is an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, has a positive or negative effect on one or more objectives. I am a lead on a virtual event, and one risk, but I often have this as one of my risks, but we'll come up with a few more. One of the risks that I always think about is, what if my speakers don't show up? Da-da-da-da. That's going to negatively impact the event. For my community group that I'm launching, what happens if I launch the event or make the announcement, and when someone clicks on the link to join, they can't join? Maybe the link is dead, or it takes them to a different location, or it's broken. That's a risk. So technology is certainly going to be a theme or a category that you should be thinking about when you're identifying your risks. So I'm definitely jumping ahead. But let's just go ahead and start thinking about the categories of risk. Pick your project, okay? And then let's look at the categories. There could be a people category. There is also a schedule category. There's also a tech category. So I'm just naming out a few things to get your mind situated to say, from a technological perspective, what could threaten the outcome of my virtual event, of my launch of the membership group? All right. So now, this is something that's really, really good. A threat is negative, and also there could be an opportunity where a risk can actually be something that is positive. Boop. It's positive. So let's break that down. We know that a risk that is negative, we just named one. All right, and we came up with the categories that they could fall under. But if I have a product, let's say I'm selling something. Maybe my graphic designer all of a sudden, gets sick, and he can't complete all of the images that I need to launch the website, which is in a week. And he just wrote in and said, "Hey, I'm sick. I'm not even halfway finished," which is a different problem. We should have had some controls in place, some process to do some check-ins. Let's say that didn't happen, and the graphic designer says, "Well, I don't know if I'm going to have everything on time." Risk. That's negative. That's going to negatively impact. All right. We're getting excited, but this is good. Opportunities are risks that have a positive effect on one or more objectives. So you got to think of this as two things. You can be a risk taker and be able to say, you know what? One risk that I'm going to do is maybe change up, the day or the days or the timing of when I'm going to launch my virtual event. Maybe you've always had it one part of the year, and maybe you want to have it in a different part of the year. And you want to say, you know what, this is risky, but it may pay off. So let's say you have a certain sales goal that you met, and that was for a particular month that you always host your virtual event. And then you go to a different month and you say, you know what, I'm going to try this over here. It's a risk, but it could pay off. And let's say it does pay off. Boom. Then that's an opportunity that has a positive effect on more of your objectives. Which your objective, one of them is probably that you want to increase sales or increase the number of clients. So in these two exercises I have, I'm asking from two perspectives. Number one, think of a risk and a negative one, and then also think of a positive one that you could take. All right, let me know. We reach for my water. Excuse me. Negative and positive. So right here is an example. I love it. I love it. I love it. Negative risk. And one of your objectives is, launching your digital course. That's the project, right? And the risk is graphic designer computer crash, which causes your deadline to be pushed back. That is a negative risk. But a positive risk could be, to do marketing, I'm going to host a clubhouse room. I'm going to host a webinar and on a said subject and pre-sell my course. The positive risk is that you make money. That's not too bad. So you always want to think of risks in what could go wrong as, how much is it going to cost me? How long are we going to be behind, or could this help us speed up the process? And then performance. Is this going to impact the performance, the outcomes for this event? So let's think about that. Let us think about that. I want to get into as well why managing risks are important. It helps business owners actively create a strategy around potential risks. Now, this whole series is on project management and entrepreneurship and why it's important and fundamental in your business. And so we're breaking down these processes. We're breaking down some of these aspects where you need this in your business as an entrepreneur. You need to be actively thinking about, man, like this could happen. What's the strategy? I want to launch a course within Mighty Networks, within my community. What could derail that process from doing that? Now, once you do your trial and error, and this is not to say that you have to sit down and think for like 5 days, oh, how many risks? You could literally sit down and say, all right, let's think of 3 to 5 things that we don't want to happen that we can prevent. And that could literally take you, between yourself and your team, maybe a couple of hours. What's cool about risk and managing risk is that you can have an owner to say, hey, could you come up with a solution? Let's make sure that this speaker or our list of speakers have calendar invites, that they are at the dress rehearsal, because we want to make sure that they are on time and that they know when they're going to go on. So I love that. You're creating a strategy. Types of risks. We looked at budget, money. Again, how much is it going to cost? The schedule, the timeline, and then the scope of the project. There could be a time, we talked a little bit, I believe, in the part 1 of this series where we talked about what is scope. Essentially scope is what you're doing and then what you're not doing. So think about your project that you're working on. What's out of scope? What's risky that could be out of scope? Shout out to Ashley H, Airtable Maestro in the building. A project she has a wonderful systematized with Airtable, and I know the title is just escaping me because I read your emails. But she has a great opportunity where you can literally manage your coaching program inside of Airtable and your clients and everything. So the type of risks that she would be looking for in terms of like building out this particular service, and again, she already has this, it's already launched and everything, is when she's building this out, she's looking at, okay, what could threaten the scope of this particular service. So she has to think through what could potentially go wrong. I mean, that could be the tech. You know what I'm saying? That could be everything from the marketing piece of it, from the graphic designer to the landing page, to the copy of it, to, she's, all the different modules and the templates and all these different types of things. So looking at it from that perspective of what's required and what's not, to make sure that coaching program and that service that she's offering, she got to make sure that that's protected. So what that means is that I can't come in and tell her, okay, Ashley, let's talk about budgeting inside of your coaching Airtable, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if you added like a module to this? You know what I'm saying? What if you added a module on like personal budgeting, right? She might be like, okay, we could, but again, that's going to threaten the scope of my service. That's going to throw everything out. Plus, you're adding things on, which would actually increase maybe the money that she doesn't even want to spend. You know what I'm saying? So there's all these different factors. So when you think about risk, you always want to think, how much is this going to cost? Is this going to delay my timeline? And is this going to impact the true intent of what my product, my service, my result, my event, my NFT, my app, my process, my launch, whatever it is that going to impact it? Come on. Come on, somebody. This is good, y'all. I don't know if y'all are feeling this the way I'm feeling it, but this is important stuff as an entrepreneur, to outline and think through risk. Like, what's that thing that's going to threaten the actual project of what it is that we're going to deliver. Like, this is so good, y'all. This is so fantastically good. This is the type of stuff where, again, you may be thinking to yourself, man, I ain't even ever think about nothing like this before. And that's okay. But I'm bringing this to your attention is because when we're planning our launches and we're planning all the things, our podcasting, the X, Y, and Z, we just want to take a little bit of time to just think about what are some things that I can prevent to make things a little bit easier. And some of this is also like you writing down questions and even phoning a friend and say, hey, I'm thinking about X, Y, and Z. I just want to make sure I don't walk into this. I don't want this to derail me. So what did you do to prevent X, Y, and Z? A risk could be, even for podcasting, let's bring that back up, having distorted audio. Like, how do you prevent prevent having poor audio? You know what I'm saying? That can be a risk. So, okay, what's the strategy that that can overcome that? So we want to be thinking of things like that. We want to be thinking of things. Let me open up another one. Okay, because we're gonna get into how to identify it. Yes. We're gonna get into the steps. So let me open this up, and then, like I said, on Wednesday, we're going to go into how you can track it in ClickUp. It's going to be so good. So good, people. All right, here's another thing right here. So risk areas, cost. We keep talking about that. Cost, the schedule, the quality. Ooh, I forgot about that. The quality. This is where, let me tell y'all something. The quality. We're not even thinking about that piece. That might have to be like a bonus session, right? About understanding what it means to make sure that you have the quality of your product, service, app, whatever remains intact. That's what we mean by quality. That it's the specifications have been outlined and that they have been met. We got to be thinking about that. Now, this doesn't mean that you're spending all your money on design. This does not mean that you are spending an exorbitant amount on tech and apps and all these types of things. But when we talk about the quality of our work, we're talking about what could be a threat that could actually lower the quality and the outcome of what we're doing. Okay. I think this is so important. So very important. So when we're looking at quality, we're going to talk about, for instance, landing pages, looking at the appearance, like the copy. For instance, me doing it myself versus me hiring an expert in doing the copy. Now, again, everyone has to decide for themselves. And this is why you got to go all the way back to the beginning about project visioning and how you have to really determine how much money do I got to put this project forward. You may DIY it, where you may say, I'm going to spend what I'm going to spend. But definitely during project visioning, you are writing down what's feasible, what's practical for me to do this. So when we're talking about the quality, you may decide to say, you know what, I want to make sure I'm spending money on this because this is going to enhance the quality of my work. Who feels me? Put something in the comments if you understand exactly what I'm saying about the quality. Because oftentimes we're not thinking about, all right, if I do this may lower the quality of my product or service. Quality, scope. We talked about scope. Emotional risk. I love this. When I was doing a training on this, somebody said, put the emotional risk. There are sometimes taking on a client is risky. Come on, somebody. Sometimes that is risky. Come on. As Pastor Jerry Flowers would say, y'all ain't trying to talk to me tonight. Y'all ain't trying to talk to me tonight. The emotional risk of taking on a project. This could be a huge undertaking for you. A webinar, a virtual event, an app. You're creating an NFT. You're trying to build something new. Maybe it's a brand new business. That's one big old project. And there's an emotional risk that has not been evaluated. Shout out to Isaiah for that one. Yeah, he wrote that one down. That was good. That was good. Okay. Whew. Getting excited here, folks. So how does this work? How do you do it? I'm going to tell you how to do it. We're just going to give you all the whole kit and caboodle. How does this work? Understanding what you're looking to accomplish. What are the goals? What are you looking to accomplish? Meaning, how are you going to identify your risk? Examine the work, schedule the tasks, and then asking the question, is there anything that could impact our goal that would cost us money? Is there what could be a potential, what could be a threat in a particular task in terms of this being complete? And what could be detrimental? Let's type this one out. What could be detrimental to the schedule? So those are the types of questions. And again, for quality, what could impact the quality of your work? You're asking these questions actively. Asking these questions. So I'm even going to give an example. If I was building out an NFT and I was going to write down the risks, I would say, well, number one, I would say that what if nobody buys the NFT? And again, I'm giving this very high level, very high level. What if someone hijacks my art and resells it? That's a huge issue. That's like, and that's something that's huge. People, you know, getting your NFT and then trying to like steal it and reproduce it and do all these things. That's an issue. That's a risk. That's a risk for sure. So, in terms of categories, again, where could that's the cost. That definitely impacts your cost because someone has taken your NFT and then they are literally reproducing it and selling it, and then you're not getting the money. But that also just helps you to think really concretely, how do I protect my NFT? Like how do I protect it? So, risk management, bottom line, you need it. Shout out to Shadid, who is, I believe, building out something special. He's working on a very special project. I'm not sure what it is. Well, yes, I do know what it is. I remember you telling me, but I don't want to announce it, in case, you don't want people to know just yet. But the particular thing that I'm thinking about for him is that when you talk about risk and launching something, you just want to make sure that you're building out the testing process, which is all of the links, all the tech links, that are a part of it, emails, right? People clicking on things to pay. You want to make sure that the risk could be if somebody clicks on the pay button, they can't pay. And then that's a problem because our attention spans are like squirrels. I don't think it's a squirrel noise, but you know what I mean. The attention span is like this, and then we go off to the next thing, which means that you lose out on a sale. Okay. So we want to start thinking about 3 to 5 risks that we want to identify based upon what I am seeing right here. Tasks, and when I mean tasks that need to be completed, I'm talking about what could threaten a particular task from being complete or being executed on. And that could be because you don't have enough information. That could be because maybe it's not a well-crafted task. It's not clear, so therefore it just doesn't get done. Again, the question of what could impact the quality of our work and what could be detrimental to the schedule. So what could throw it off that you don't make that launch? These are the things that we need to be thinking about, folks. I'm going to stop my share, but this was great. I would definitely invite you all to come to the YouTube and grab the copy link or save to later. Yeah, save to watch later and come back to this live stream because this is going to be really crucial as you are working and launching your events, your activities, your processes, whatever these things are. And you come back and you watch this replay so you can come back and say, all right, Ashley told me I just need to think about what could go wrong and then come up with a strategy that could actually help to make sure that it does not happen. Right? That's what we want to make sure, that this does not derail a project. All right, y'all. This was Risk Management 101. It gets real and it gets deep. It gets heavy. But this is good. This is really good. Oh, I didn't change my little ticker thing. But challenge of the week, y'all. The challenge of the week, text. Let me put this right here. Text live to 626-722-5444. I want you to think of 3 risks and I want you to text it to me. You can this is where we do our follow-up for Systems Lab, and you can text me questions about what it is that you've learned. I mean, you can go all the way back to the first Systems Lab and then work your way back and text me your questions that you have. Absolutely. All right, y'all. I just wanted to make sure that we knew that. We knew that. So also to making you all aware opportunities to work with me if you would like to be able to dive in a little bit more deeply on streamlining your operations using ClickUp. We got some open spots to text hashtag VIP to 626-722-5444. Again, that's hashtag VIP to 626-722-5444. If you want to know more about the ClickUp VIP day, you can definitely go to ashleyschuler.com. And I'm so enthusiastic about the new website. It's super good. And yeah, this is where you would go to view the VIP day. Have any questions about it, for sure, tap in, let me know your thoughts, and what you want to know about it, because it is awesome. All right, y'all, we'll be back on Wednesday. We're going to be looking at how to build out in ClickUp a risk management tracker. It's going to be fantastic. We'll talk soon. Thank you so much and have a great night.